Recording is on.
Okay, so so many of us we didn't have the opportunity, you know, for somebody to hold our hands and take us up the ladder. And the industry has now become so cumbersome. Like there's so many things going on, so many tools, so many. Um, Somebody is raising their hand. Olatunji and Michael, can you please tap the hand icon on your screen so that I don't think you are trying to ask a question. Thank you. So as I was saying, the industry has become so cumbersome, oversaturated, so many things going on at the same time, and we all want to keep up. And that's one of the reasons why we have these workshops. We have people that once there's a workshop, they're always there. People like Faith, like Alima, shout out to them and other people as well that are not yet here at this right now. Michael as well, you know. So today we are treating micro interactions. And before that, let me just introduce myself again and then introduce our guest for today. I'm Lizzy, I'm a product designer, I'm a coach, and I'm a design manager, right? Um, I have with me I want to say Shegs. Yeah, I call him Shegs. Well, his name is Oluwasegun Aderibigbe, and he is a product designer. So Shegun is my go-to person when it comes to anything motion, right? Is a brand expert. So you can know that this person is very loaded. He's a brand expert. He's a product design expert. When we work together for like a lot of times, and when I have like complex um interaction projects, is my go-to person. You understand? I just call him or I bring him on board or I just hand over the task to him and he never disappoints, right? He's very vast with motion tools. All right. So we have here the right person to learn from and I want us to be ready. What are micro interactions? There's so many things. Um, these days now, a lot of people are building their website by themselves because of AI, while some are still doing it the native way, use Figma, use maybe Canva or whatever. But whatever tool we're going to be using today, I want you guys to know that the knowledge you can also be applied. In case you don't use that tool, you can also apply that knowledge to whatever tool that you might be using or that you're currently using going forward. You'll see a lot of people that they'll build their websites, right? And it's just like a template, like a flyer. There's no engagement. You see that some people are complaining that people are not really staying on their website. They are not buying, you know, they are not interacting. Some people, when they check the metrics on their websites, the metrics is very low, you know, and then you begin to wonder like why. It's because maybe their audience don't find the site engaging. They're not finding what they need. Information architecture is wrong. Some what's it called? Some users, they want to come to a site and feel like it is alive. You understand? And these are all the things that micro interaction gives you. Micro interaction helps you to retain clients. So if you are designers here, these are some of the things that would kind of um was pitched to our clients, oh, do you want an engaging website or do you want a static one? Of course, we will not just give them static. It's actually always good to recommend an engaging site, to them. But we ourselves, we ought to know how to like bring this site to life, integrate all of this, and also know how to hand it over to your developers, or sometimes it can even make you price the project more. Yeah. So when I have a project that somebody comes with complex engagement, because when you come to my time you need something, I'll ask you, have you seen any reference that you like, the kind of website that you've liked that you also want us to achieve? So when you send me this and I send me this site and I say that, oh, that's complex interactions and all of that, the price will increase because it takes work to put all of that into place. So that's why it's always good for you to ask whoever gives you projects to give you references, like Have you seen any site? Is there a particular site that you love so much that you think your website, you would like your website to go in the same direction, or your apps should go in the same direction? You understand? And then you tell them to send you links. Okay. Or if they don't have links, you can just ask them to describe it, and then you can just maybe share them links by yourself if you feel like, or just understand what they need and then just do it for them. Okay. So without wasting much of our time, because we really don't like to drag things. If you notice, I only said we should wait for, and we started exactly 5:02. So before we start, I'd like to hear from us, like, what are your expectations? I know that our guest has prepared something for us, but we don't want to leave anybody stranded. Like, oh, they have just been talking, and what I'm even expecting, they're not talking about it. So this is time for us to factor it in. So I'll just be calling us randomly, like, just tell me, what are your expectations? What would you like to learn from today's workshop? So the first on my list is wisdom. Wisdom, can you hear me?
Good evening, Lizzy. I can hear you.
Yes, I can hear you, wisdom.
Yes. All right. My name is Wisdom Owemi. I'm a product designer.
Yeah.
Um, so one of my main expectations from this class micro interaction is to, learn how to integrate it into my work because I currently work in a telecoms company, and what I saw on ground is not as exciting as what I think users will want. So one thing I want to learn is to know how to integrate micro interactions to captivate users' attention throughout their um, engagement with sites, my company site, and or even other products I work on, basically. So just to know how what micro interaction is and how to integrate into projects that I work on going forward. Thank you.
Thank you so much, wisdom. Dorcas, how you doing? Hi, Dorcas. Can you hear me?
Hi, Lizzy, I can hear you. Good evening.
Nice to have you.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
Nice, nice. So Dorcas is a big girl. She's working for Wema Bank. She's a product designer as well.
Lizzy, please.
So you guys, we have big people in our midst today. So tell us, I know you are big already. So what are your expectations for today?
Well, I'd say I mean to learn as much as I can. I mean, there's the need to always get better
Yeah,
at what you do. So
knowledge is never too much.
exactly. So that's why I'm here.
Okay, that's good. Okay,
Thank you.
Emma Maisie. I don't know if I pronounced that well. Hi, Emma.
Hi,
Good to have
yeah,
you. How you
good
doing?
evening, everyone. Thank you. I'm fine, thank you.
So tell us, what are your expectations today?
Okay, I'm just looking to learn because I don't think I've ever attended like a class for micro interaction. So I'm both curious and also open to learning whatever the instructor is going to be teaching us today.
Okay.
Thank you.
Emma, what do you do?
Oh, I'm a product designer.
Okay. Do you work for the big guys too? Like Dorcas?
No, not yet.
Don't worry, the big guys will come.
Thank you.
Yeah. Um, who else is on my list? Faith. Faith is also a big, she's a big girl. She's a coach as well. She used to train at okay, let me not mention it, but she used to train students as well, and she's also quite knowledgeable. I'm even considering bringing her on one of our sessions, but she never agreed. So Faith, tell us, what are your
Hi,
expectations?
good evening.
Hi Faith.
Just wanting to learn more. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to learn more micro interactions, particularly when you're handing them over to developers, because most of them always give kind of like some edit.
Sorry, I didn't get that.
Yeah,
Particularly on what?
I said micro interactions, particularly handing it over to developers. Like, how do we export the interactions, or how do we achieve it that it looks exactly like what you prototype in Figma? And yeah, that's where what I'm looking forward to learning, and any other thing our instructor or facilitator today teaches us. Thank you.
Okay. So I'll just take two more people and then we'll go. I don't want to call anybody that we are familiar with in this community. So we'll just look for a name that I'm not familiar with. Oluwatoyin, will you please do us the honors? What are your expectations? Can you hear me? You're muted. Okay, I'll just go on to. I know I'm not calling Finn. Finn is a regular customer. Shukro. Hi, Shukro. Can you hear me? Anybody that don't answer me, I'll move on to the next person because of our time. Oh, Mr. Albert. Good evening. Can you hear me? Hello. Good place. Okay, don't worry. Okay, okay, no problem. Don't worry. Okay, I think we'll just like go into it. All right. So we spent enough time with introduction already. Yeah, and I'm sure by now we kind of like have an understanding of why we are here. And we don't like to like keep us for too long, right? So Shegs, are you here? Hi Shegs.
Hello, can you hear me, guys?
Okay, fine. So he's here. So I'm just going to hand over to him. So please, I need some emojis. Please let's appreciate and welcome our guest speaker. He could be anywhere else now, but he has chosen to come and share his knowledge with us. His wealth of knowledge. A lot of people are paying for classes like this out there, like thousands and millions, you know, of naira and dollars that people are using to take classes. But here we are dishing out this knowledge for free. Okay, and Sheikh is also here to share his wealth of knowledge with us. So please let me appreciate him as he comes. And please, while he's engaging with us, please let's interact with him. Let's respond, and so that we can have a successful interaction. We're here for micro interaction, right? So thank you. Sheikh, the floor is yours.
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Can you guys hear me?
Can you guys hear him? Okay, I can see some emojis, so they can hear you.
No. So, um, okay, so uh, good evening once again, and welcome to this workshop. Uh, Lizzy said, my name is Oluwasegun, and today we are
I
going to be
see you.
talking about.
We can't
Sorry,
we can't see you.
you can't see me.
Okay, I can see you now. Boss.
Okay. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about something that separates a good product and a great one. So I've had um, some people's expectations, and I think I'm going to be disappointing as much as possible to set things
Please
right,
mute your mic. Thing.
right?
Yes.
Okay. So, 1 second. Let me share my screen. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. So, throughout this time together, I would want us to like interact and engage throughout, so that this won't just be just like any other workshops you must have attended or something you must have seen. I mean, a lot of us can just go on YouTube and watch some videos and all of that. But yeah, what I want to try to do is try and make things clear and attend to as much real life questions and concerns people on this call have, so that we can get things out of the way, right? Today we're talking on micro interaction. Micro interaction is not a big word, uh, but it actually contributes to um, the success of the products, right? It's like the tiny moments, the things users feel but barely notice, and they don't notice it consciously. So, yeah, that for today, um, I'll be talking on what micro interactions are, the anatomy, why they matter, how to build one, and how to use AI to kind of like build one and iterate on it, and we'll um, do some practical like a use case, and we'll attend to questions and see if we can like create some things based on questions that are asked. And I'm hoping we'll be able to spend more time during that section. So first thing first, um, so what are micro interactions? So let me ask us something. Um, think of a time you liked a post on Instagram or TikTok. Like what happened when you tried to do that? Anyone? Is there anyone who wants to speak?
Emma.
Olatunji.
Yeah,
Okay.
Alatunji and Emma.
So whenever you like a post on Instagram or TikTok, number one, the like button enlarges a bit, and it gives this it feels like you are getting a pop, or it's not like it's a audible pop, or you just feel it.
Hmm. Okay. Emma.
Okay. When you press the like button, like there's a response on the interface showing that like an action has been taken. So like you see that visual indication that you tap something.
Hmm. Right. Um, the interesting thing is, um, a lot of us don't even register that in our minds. We don't know that that actually happens. maybe the first time, maybe we noticed, or maybe we were consciously looking for something and we noticed it. But usually, when micro interactions happen, we barely notice it. Like consciously, we don't, but our brain registers it because our brain actually notices more than we actually know it does. So that's how micro interaction works. A micro interaction is meant to feel right. Yeah. So for the case of liking a post on Instagram, there's usually this the app pops up like a post. Before there used to be like some sort of particles that show, but I think they've changed that, just pops and bounce and return back to its place. Same thing on TikTok as well. So that's my micro interaction, and it's doing something powerful. It's making you feel like the project acknowledged you, right? Dan Sefer, who is the person who like he literally wrote a book on micro interaction in I think 2013, and it defines a micro interaction as a contained product moment that accomplishes a single task,
I'm,
right?
I'm
And
sorry to
the
interrupt, Shakes. I'm not seeing your screen from it. Like I'm not. It's showing that you are sharing your screen, but I'm not seeing the content. I want to confirm if it's just me, if others are seeing it.
okay,
I can see the screen.
You can see the content of the screen.
Yes.
Okay,
oh,
then it's from my side then.
I can see your screen as well.
Okay,
oh,
go on.
okay. Um, so the keyword from that definition is single, not multiple, not complex, just one small purposeful moment. That's what micro interaction does. And real world examples are the Instagram we just talked about, then the um, pull to refresh spinner. I mean, some of us use the Chrome browser where you can, if you want to refresh a page, you can just um, pull it down and it refreshes the page. And once you pull it down, it shows you something, right, to let you know that this thing is about to refresh. So that's a micro interaction as well. If when you're filling a form online, when you over on the form field or you focus on the form field and it turns red and it's telling you this thing is required, this thing has to be filled in a certain format. That's a micro. Anyway, so I was talking about like you are filling a long form and you click submit and you did not know that you did not fill a particular field or you filled it wrongly. And some forms, when you click the submit button, it's kind of like clear everything you filled in. Imagine in that case, after filling all of that and it clears it, I have to fill all those fields again just because you forgot to fill a field. But once an interaction has been added to let you know, oh, this particular field has to be filled, is required, or it has to be filled a certain way, then it saves you that frustration. Then we have the bell badge appearing with counts, which is usually used for notifications. Let you know, oh, a new message has come in, or there's a particular thing that needs your attention in that particular product. And we have the check marks when you send messages, letting you know your message has been sent, your message is not sent, all of that. So those are micro interactions, right? And they they feel natural and they perform just a single task. They don't do multiple, they just do one task and that's all it does throughout. And it helps build trust. So there are interactions and there are micro interactions. If you would notice that the examples I've given so far that are micro interactions are entirely different from what you are talking about. And you'll notice that these ones we are talking about now, they are just little things. It's not something big on the products, and they actually play a very big role. And you would see why very shortly, because many a times we just ignore it, not knowing that it actually plays a very huge role on the product. Yeah. So, well, we'll try and as much as possible to see if we can digress a little bit and answer questions regarding that when we get there. So, for so can you still see the slide?
Yes, sir.
All right, awesome. Okay, so there are four parts anatomy to this micro interaction thing, and every micro interaction you would ever see design or build, no matter how complex it is, follows this exact same structure. That's four parts. Number one is trigger. So basically, the trigger is what starts the interaction. That is what causes the interaction. Um, it can be the trigger might be a user's action, like the click, a tap, or hovering over something, or even typing. It can also be a system event, like a timer finishing, or an error occurring, or even a page load finish loading. So those are triggers. Those are what causes something to happen. And there's an important distinction between a user triggered uh, and a system trigger. A user trigger usually requires the user to do something, while a system trigger happens automatically, right? Then you have rules. Once after you have a trigger, you would have a rule, and the rule defines what happens and when the trigger fires. This is known as the logic layer. It's often invisible to the user, but it actually determines everything. Which direction does the toggle slide go? What color does the field turn? How long does the animation run? Those are the rules. Then you get the feedback. So feedback is the part where user actually see, right? The trigger is what the user do. The feedback is what the um, user actually see or hear or feel. So interaction is not just moving around in a product and tapping things. It could be sounds. It could be what you feel as well. And this is the visual animation, the sound effects, the haptic feedback, the buzz, that vibration you get on your phone. And if there's no feedback, the user would have no idea if whatever action they've performed worked. Whether they clicked on a button, if there's no feedback, letting them know, oh, the form has been submitted successfully, or this thing can be clicked. If there's no feedback at all, um, it can lead to frustration. So that's why this is the most critical part to get right, because bad feedback is equal to confused user. And lastly, we have loops and modes. So loops is part of the anatomy, but it is not compulsory. This one is optional, or it is also part of the anatomy. And what this does is just like, does the interaction repeat? Does it change behavior over time? An example is a password strength meters. Does it change as you type, or a loader spinner, loading spinner that loops until whatever task you're doing is done? These are the things that fall under loops and modes, right? And example of a trigger is a toggle switch, right? You use a toggle switch that uses to enable or disable a particular settings or feature or thing in the product. And an example of a rule would be when you switch uh, to dark mode or light mode. So the trigger is that toggle switch. If you enable it or if you switch it to the right, whichever way the product is being set, that trigger um, follows a particular rule, which is, oh, if it is enabled, it switches to dark mode. If it is disabled, it switches to the system mode or the light mode, right? Then you get the feedback because when you tap or click on the toggle switch, the toggle slides smoothly, and of course, you see your modes change into the dark mode or the light mode. So that's feedback. Imagine just tapping on the toggle switch and you don't know if it is working or not, right? Now, then the state persists across sections. Like it doesn't just affect the screen or page you are at that time, it also affects the entire thing. If you move through pages, it remains the same. It remembers what you've done. So that's like an example of this we've just talked about. Um, does that make any sense? Uh, so then now let's talk about why these interactions matter. Um, so we should care. Why should we care about this? Um, because this is beyond aesthetics, actually. Uh, there are four concrete reasons micro interactions matter to product success. And the first is the trust they build. When a button visually responds to the instant you click it, you know the product is working, right? And when it does not, of course, you know there's something wrong somewhere. And again, you start to wonder if it is broken or not, or your phone is hanging, or your laptop is hanging, or the website is not responsive, and all of that, right? So, um, feedback is a trust signal, right? Then it's the guide attention. That's another reason why they matter. Like a subtle pulsing animation draws the eye, like a badge, a notification badge, for example. Sometimes there's this pulsing animation that lets you know you need to attend to this now, right? Or if there's no interaction there, you wouldn't know if there's a notification that you need to attend to, right? And so it guides your attention. And thirdly, they add personality to your products. This is where design philosophy meets emotion. You know, that bouncy mascot animation on what's it called, Duolingo, right? It makes you feel like learning is fun. And I don't know, some of us who use Duolingo, we know the truth of the matter is learning a new language, for example, is not fun. But they make it fun as much as possible, and they use those animations and micro interaction to make it feel like it is fun. Even sometimes when you are uh, in a lesson and you're just not getting it right, maybe you are forgetting it or something, and it just seems difficult and you're already frustrated. Sometimes you might want to quit, but they've added some interactions to it that makes it look fun and make you like stay a longer than you would have if it was not there. And um, this shows the importance of micro interaction because if you can do a little bit of research, you would see how much the Duolingo team actually invested on those interactions and those animations. In fact, they've revamped it a couple of times. They've added more to it just to help you achieve your goal using the products. Okay, and that's one of the reasons why Duolingo surpasses a lot of language learning apps. There's a lot of them, but Duolingo has its own personality, right? You know, sometimes icon, the app icon on your phone itself changes. Maybe because it's been days you opened the app and that's been frozen, that kind of a thing. So those are things, those are interactions. It makes you want to get into the app, right? And lastly, they reduce error. For example, the form I talked about, like inline form validations, where if it tells you something is wrong while you are still typing, or tells you the format at which it should be filled, it dramatically reduces errors, and users don't get to submit button only to find out that the email format they input was wrong like few fields ago, right? And statistics has shown like there's because of micro interactions, there's like 40% reliability, and that's reduced form errors by 60%, and it's directional. And UX studies show these patterns, but the exact number might vary based on context. I know, but it's it's there, it works, right? And I don't know if any of us know about this, but these are the reasons why they matter, right? And next we have the six type of micro interactions you would likely work with and when designing a product, either as a designer or a developer, right? Number one is data input, which is the form validation, the character count, maybe you are trying to create the password and all of that. Um, there's call to action, all these button overstates, loading spinners, the way the button dims when you click it, this tells user the action was received, and they get the feedback to let them know, oh, this button you clicked actually has been clicked, and they should be expecting a response very soon. Then content changes, these are page transitions. You know, when you are loading a page, right, and for whatever reason it's taking a while to to finish loading, there's something that loads like a skeleton. It looks like a simple wireframe that shows that the page is loading, and so that's like a content change type of micro interaction. There's the notification toast, the badge accounts that I mentioned earlier. Then we have the navigation as well, all those menu animations, tab switching, transitions, the way the drawer slides in and out. These are navigation micro interactions, which actually reduce cognitive loads. And we have system status. These are like progress bars, sync indicators, connection status icons. User needs to know the system states at all time, right? If the system is active or not. Um, if you notice all of these types, each of them solve a communication problem. So micro interaction helps you communicate with your user to let them know their actions are being received, or they should be expecting a particular kind of response soon, and all of that. So it saves them from frustration. Are we still here? Are we still with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So which of these do you like we have some product designers as well. I want to assume we have some developers as well on this call. Like which of these do you deal with the most in your current work? I think we have somebody who works with Wema. Yeah, she's still here.
Let me check. Yeah, Dorcas.
So which of these do you deal with the most? I mean, there are other types, but these are like the ones that you barely do without.
Okay, Adesegun. I use pretty much everything here. I mean, day to day.
It's good. So,
Mhm.
anyone else?
So I
Um,
yes, good evening. So the most I use data inputs, call to action, and system status the most.
and may I ask why?
Uh, that's the common thing for most people, and I just feel more comfortable with it. It's always my go-to, and there is rarely a scenario whereby I rarely use that this batch count stuff. But most of the time I use data inputs, call to action, and system status. Content change.
Anyone else? Anyone else?
Faith. Halima. Anybody?
I think I was off for a bit. I don't know.
Okay. So it was asking like which of these do you use the most in your work?
I use call to actions, notifications, system progress, and navigation. Okay.
Hmm.
I think recently I've been adopting content change, particularly selecting sprint, but it's been quite difficult. But yeah,
All right.
Okay.
So I think we have like a base understanding of like who say I think it was Shukra that said it's just normal thing. Actually, not for everyone. Some people just feel like it is extra. Some people do not know why it is there. They just know they've always seen it. And that's one of the reasons why I said micro interaction is not something we consciously notice. It is there. The time we know that something is wrong somewhere is when it is not there or when it is not working the way it's supposed to work. But if it is there and it's working properly, we don't even notice it is there. But it does it works because it's meant to feel natural. It's meant to, and if you are observant, you will notice that everything we build as human, we try to copy it from what we experience naturally, right? And this is also applied when creating micro interaction. For example, we are building intelligent system, we are building humanoids, robots that look like humans. I mean, why build robots that look like human? It's just because we like to take inspiration from what our experience is naturally, and we want to like imitate that kind of a concepts into whatever we are building as humans. That's why we build airplanes like the bird. We build things to copy what exists naturally. Same thing micro interaction. It's this applies when creating micro interaction because when we are actually creating the animation, there's something we call easing of an animation. We'll get there very shortly. So we try to apply a real life concept to it. So micro interaction is great when it works well, and if if it is noticeable, it's either the person is consciously looking for it or it is not doing its work. Or if it is not noticeable, like like you are noticing it like this thing is here, then it is doing its work the way it's meant to. right? So that's micro interaction. Then now we would look at like building one. Do we have any developer on this call?
Hmm, I'm not sure. I'm not aware of any.
Are we all designers? Or let me ask, who is
Most
not a designer and not a developer? At least not yet. Anyone?
maybe there's none.
Okay. So we are all designers here.
I think so.
Also. Okay. So I was going to okay. There's no need saying it. Let's just do it. So we just want to like create one or two micro interactions, right? Then we replicate this. I was going to show like the implementation. Uh, a developer would understand that better. Nothing complex, at least not right now. And so I would jump into uh,
Maybe let's ask if they would like to see it. I mean,
yeah,
you
of
said
course. So
developers, so
yeah,
okay,
we'll
sure.
get there. So um, let's first look at principles of a great micro interactions. Um, the first is the purpose, right? Like the main objective of the micro interaction is purpose. That should come first before anything. Without before, oh, does it look cool or not? It should have a purpose, and like I mentioned before, it has to do one thing. A micro interaction has to do just one thing. Uh, you know, let's leave theory and codes aside, right? And before animating anything, you should ask, does this help the user understand something, or am I doing this because it looks cool? There's nothing wrong with being cool, but that should not be the priority of a micro interaction. Uh, it has to be purposeful, and that is what micro interaction is. It is a purposeful motion in UX. Then speed matters, right? For a good micro interaction, it has to happen within 100 to 300 milliseconds, right? If it's less than 100, the human brain cannot really notice it. Very, very difficult to notice, right? But the good spot is within 3 to 300, and 1 to 300. And 4 and 5 still works, depending on the kind of interaction you're creating. But anything longer than that is considered a lag because things start feeling slow. I mean, if it is just one, the brain might not pick it up immediately. But when you're moving through pages continuously, and each of those interactions on those pages are more than 500 milliseconds, then you start noticing it. It starts coming to your consciousness that this app feels slow because we are meant to receive a feedback almost immediately after clicking. And imagine a micro interaction that is meant to make your UX better is not the one slowing things down. It's not as if the system is slow, but because the micro interaction is slow, it
So
has to finish playing before it shows you what you're asking the system for. Then you start feeling like the product is slow or it's not responsive. So speed matters. Then easing is also everything. Like I was saying earlier, we try to like imitate real life experiences. So in easing, we try to do the same thing. We don't want something that feels rigid or robotic, because things animate in our surrounding, right? And they don't just accelerate or decelerate. They pick up speed gradually, or um, the speed reduces gradually. For example, an example is our car or a fan. When you put a fan on, it doesn't just get to the fifth speed immediately. It's the speed goes up gradually, then it can now maintain that speed at some point. And sometimes, I mean, let's say you put it off, then it slows down gradually. It doesn't just stop. A car does the same thing. It accelerates gradually, then it gets to a speed, then it can maintain that speed for as long as you want. Then when you want to stop, or when you hit your brake, it doesn't just stop immediately. It stops gradually. The same thing happens in micro interaction when we are creating them. We don't want it to feel as smooth as possible. That's where you apply easing. And there are different type of easing. And since we're all designers here, we've seen this easing, right? Some of us might not yet exactly know how they actually work or when to use what, right? But I guess we can take a look at that as well. Then it has to respect user preference. So one of the um, biggest thing in UX design is accessibility, right? So there's this option called prefers reduced motion, and it's like a CSS media query. So it helps users set that on their OS, whether iPhone, Mac, Windows, Android, whatever OS they're using. The option is there for them to set. And what does that does is it reduces or it completely removes any kind of motion, right? For someone who has maybe motion sickness, or there's something they call vestibular disorder, so it can be around motion like that. So that gives them the option to remove motion, anything animation, right? And you must honor it. This is a very important principle when creating animations and micro interactions, because accessibility is not optional. It is a legal and ethical requirement in UX. Then the last one is that you have to stay consistent. User learn your product's interaction language. If your button overs always lifts them up, then hovering tabs should also lift them too. Inconsistency kind of like creates confusion, and when you build a motion vocabulary, you have to stick with it. Usually, when you're working with a design system, most of these things are already defined. If you look at what's it called, Google's material design, or Apple's HIG design system, it's usually a section for motion guideline, the kind of motion you can use, how to set it, and all of that is already defined. So it helps stay consistent, because as a user uses the product, subconsciously the brain registers what is happening. If things are moving to the right, it registers it. So when it now sees something that is moving to the left, it becomes confused as to what that means. Does it mean something else, or does it mean the same thing you've been doing the previous pages or the previous screens? So yeah, it has to be consistent, right? Then we have AI powered workflow. I know we skipped the a section earlier. So we are going to like go back to it, and we will enter. So I'm trying to give us as much time as we can for practicals so that we can do something, right? And attend to questions and all of that. So um, the AI powered workflow, AI, as we know it today, helps speed up things. And before I say anything else, I want us to be clear about something before we get into this. AI does not replace design judgments. In fact, it is said that AI doesn't actually think. AI is just a machine that predicts based on the information it has. It doesn't think. Thinking is a human thing, right? I know some AI tools we've seen, maybe some of the labels will tell you, oh, you have a system that thinks, or it will be showing thinking. It does not. We just like I said earlier, we try to use something we are um, known to and use it to build whatever we are building. That's why they are calling it thinking. But what a system does, what AI does, is not thinking. So the design judgments still depend on you as a designer. You are the one that have to decide if something stays or something goes. You are the one that gives it the idea. The AI cannot build what you did not tell it to build. It cannot do it. You still have to depend on you to give it information as to what it needs to do, right? So uh, the place AI shines is iteration and speeds of things, right? Rather than creating variants and all of that manually, it can help you um, speed that up, and which is a different thing from design judgments. Now, one of the bottleneck in micro interaction design isn't actually the idea, it's actually generating and evaluating variants quickly. That's and which, like I said, is where AI shines. And there are 5 workflows, and I think a lot of us are already familiar with them. The first one is the describe. This is where you write your prompts in your natural language, tell it exactly what you want, right? And we've always said you have to be specific. The more specific you are, the more the system will be able to generate exactly what you want, right? And you have to use words that, like I said, speak to what you are expecting. Then the second phase is the generation, so where it generates variants. Um, we're familiar with Claude, we have ChatGPT, there's Copilot, and a bunch of them. I'm trying as much as possible not to steer us towards a particular AI model because most of them do the same thing, or and those ones that do not focus on a particular thing, right? So it's not about Claude, it's not about ChatGPT, it's about what you need to do, right? So that's why I'm not trying to like steer us towards a particular tool. So I might not be giving you like authoritatively, oh, use this tool for this and all of that, right? So the next one is critique. So when you describe what you want and it has generated something for you, you still have to, like I said, um, do the judgment. You have to critique it, review it, and see if it actually solves the problem you want it to solve. Does it actually look the way you want it to look, right? Because whatever you are creating has to serve the user's mental model, uh, like with the one that feels appropriate for the production. Then once you are done with critiquing, you select the ones that work and discard the one that does not. Then you start refining. Maybe there's just one or two things that needs to be refined from what has been generated to make it better. Just you have to give the AI specific feedback as well. For example, you can say make it 20% faster, add a slight bounce at the end, or make the shadow less intense, all of that. That has to be specific, right? Then after you are done refining them, you can then ship um, the perfect one, right? And so that's like basically what the workflow looks like. I mean, this whole workflow might change some years to come because AI is far from where it's going to. So a lot of things are changing, right? The way we interact with them is changing as well. At least before it started with writing prompt and all of that, and even writing prompts, there's some technical um, words you have to include in order for it to generate what you want. And now most of them now has advanced more that you don't need to enter some technical words in order to generate what you need to do. And now we're already having speech prompts whereby you can prompt it by speaking to it, which is a great development. So, like I said, in years to come, it might be a different workflow, but this is like how the workflow is currently. Right? I don't know. Does anyone here have Claude open? So that we can also be doing things on our own end, so that I won't just be the one showing you things. Do we have Claude or ChatGPT?
Okay, would you like everyone to open it?
I will open mine now.
Okay, please do, so that you can on your end try. Maybe there's something you have been thinking, oh, how do I use AI to create this or to generate this? And you can input your own prompt the way you would have input it correctly. Then if it does not work for you, then you can ask, oh, this is what I'm trying to generate, this is what I prompted it, this is the result it gives me, how do I prompt it properly? Then we can go over it when we are able to ask questions. Right. So would generate so what we'll do is would create something in Figma, since we said we are all designers. We'll create something in Figma. We'll see if it works, and then we'll also create the same thing using AI. Does that make sense? Then we can now get to questions that which I think is the most important part, rather than me assuming um, problems. So you people can share what you would like us to address. Right. So these are just few resources. Though most of these free resources, most of these are for developers. Sorry about that. For example, CSS tricks, and I think the one who would know is auto animates, maybe notifiers, cubic braziers. So, is there any tool here that we've not seen before or heard about before? You can drop it in the chats. Let me know. Maybe I can talk about it. If there's any tool here, any of us have not seen or heard about before, uh, please let me know in the chats. Okay.
Have we all used all these tools? You must be ballers, so
No, no,
and nobody's talking.
no.
So he said if there's any tool here that you're not familiar with.
Okay, so I've not used this UI, I think UI Z wireframe to prototype. No, I've not used it before.
UI
Okay.
Okay. This GSAP.
I've not used it
I'm
before
not
too.
familiar with it as well.
Yes.
Mm.
Hmm.
And even Framer, I think it's just once. I tried my luck.
Okay. So um, this CSS trick, these ones are just um, animation references are mostly developers things. Do we all know about Lottie files? Lottie files.
Does anybody know about
But
Lotify?
I know about Lottie, like Lottie
Thing.
website. Is it the same thing as Lottie files, or
Yeah.
is it the animations we get from there that is Lottie files?
Okay. So Lottie file is a type of animation, right? So there was a problem. There used to be a problem between designers and developers, whereby designers create animations in products, websites, apps, and the likes. But um, it takes time for developers to implement the same thing exactly the way it is being designed. In some cases, the motion designer has to like export it as a video and all of those things. And those things are usually heavy, right? So then there came Notifile. So Notifile is the bridge between the motion that is designed and the developer would code it, right? And they need something that would be very lightweight in order to implement it so that it doesn't slow down the product. So Lotify is actually code-based animation. So when you create a Loti file is actually in JavaScript format. It's in JS format.
I think Shegs has gone off, right?
Yes.
Okay. This app is I think maybe a network is really dealing with him. So let's just wait a bit.
Yes, I think for this particular this thing we are using, your network needs to be strong before you can use it properly.
Mm-hmm. There's only one that gives us unlimited time for now. Let me text him.
Can you hear me now?
Okay. Yes. But your screen is not up.
Yeah, it should be up now. Yeah. So I was talking about Lotifile. So Lotifile is actually a. Can you still hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So it's actually a coded animation. Um, so once you generate your animation as a Lottie file, since it's in code, which is what the system understands, one, it's lightweight, it's usually in kilobytes, and two, it is easily implemented rather than having an animation done in, say, MP4 format or even GIF. right? So that's where Lottie file comes in. A lot of these animations we see nowadays are Lottie file, especially those illustrations that you see on some websites that are moving and all of that. They are Lottie files. All these preloader screens on your mobile app, they are their logo animations and all of that. They are created as a Lottie file. Um, has anyone worked with Lotify? Like, I don't mean downloading a prebuilt one. Like, you've actually used one before, like created one. Anyone? Is there anyone?
If there's no response, that means there's no one. The one I know that I've done is you create an animation in Figma and then you export it as there's a particular plugin. I can't remember the name now on Figma that allows you to export. So it gives you different options. It will give you export as um what's that one?
Is it GIF?
Yeah, GIF. They give you as GIF, it gives you as Lottie. So you just pick your choice that you want to export as. But I don't know if there's any particular tool that allows you to animate in Lottie.
Okay. So for animation, even before, long before Figma, After Effects has always been the industry standard for animations, for regardless of the where to be used. So right now, you can now create an animation on After Effects and export it as a Lottie file rather than a GIF or MP4 video. So at the end of the day, you would have a Lottie file, which is a JS script that you can just hand over to your developer and they know what to do. In fact, they don't even need to start performing any trick with it. They just need to add it to their code and they are done. So it helps a lot and it is lightweight because it's in code. It's not doesn't have to render any image or frame. So it is very lightweight and it doesn't really affect the speed of the websites. Now, there are most of the animations you see, and in fact, the truth of the matter is, even the animations you create when designing, in fact, the pictures, the designs you make, they are actually scripts that you are writing. As designers, we are just seeing the rendered um, part of it. Behind the scene, it's actually scripts being written on the back end, right? So but let's not get technical. So we have this GSAP is actually an animation library that a developer can use to on for a product. Some of these websites that you see, I'm digressing a little bit because of some of us who are interested in um, animation generally. So I don't be a complete disappointment. So is this GSAP is an animation library. So these are like they are animations that has been written and created in code already, right? You can apply it. So those animations you see on websites, all these scroll triggers, why the way this one is scrolling to the left and how those text are coming in, everything is moving around. So they have written the code, right? So a developer, for example, can just reference the library import it their to the project and just tell it what to do. Does that make sense? Can you still hear me?
Yes, sir. It
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a JavaScript animation library. So you would see they have all these scroll kind of animations, the one where you have to morph SVGs, flip, drag, inertia, even all these physics. I don't know if you've seen all these physics animation whereby things will drop or can drag things on the screen. Those are part of the library. Um, some whereby the SVG would morph as well, maybe from circle to square. Those are animations that are created already. You get so a developer can just reference this library and just make some customization based on what they're trying to achieve with it. Basically, so you don't have to write the entire animation from scratch. If a developer wants to implement your animation, they use either CSS code, which is a styling. I don't. It's not necessarily. It's a language, but it's not a programming language. It's a markup language. So a styling language, CSS, or it's like a more advanced animation. They use JavaScript. JavaScript is what they use to implement whatever animation you are creating, right? So there's this, there's a framer motion. There's framer motion as well. So this is also a library of animations that can be implemented. So you as a developer doesn't have to like start writing their own code from scratch to animate these objects, for example. Right? So you can this framer motion partners with Framer, the website builder. So the animations you would create on Framer, which is the website builder, is powered by this Framer motion. For Webflow actually uses GSAP now. The animations that is created on what's it called on Webflow is actually powered by GSAP. Just made like a recent partnership, I think sometime last year. So there are other motion libraries that can be uh, used actually, but these ones are very, very popular. There's 3D JS, where you will see on the website the animations are 3D um, animations, right? So that's GSAP. Then After Effects, like I said, is used for creating animation, regardless of the animation type of animation you want to create, either for UI, either for marketing, whatever animation. That's where After Effects comes in. And there's a plugin if you are good with After Effects, you can use you can export your design from Figma to After Effects and animate it to create the prototype. As we all know, Framer is limited as to the kind of prototype it can create or the animation it can create, right? So that's where After Effects can come in. If you are comfortable using it, you can create it so that you can show your developer or stakeholders what you are trying to achieve rather than explaining because Figma does not do it. Then the AI we've seen lately. So the UI ZAD, it wasn't even an AI platform. It's just at first they were going the same direction with Figma, trying to like create a replicate of Figma before AI comes in now. So UI is just like most of these other UI um, AI apps that you can use now to generate prototype. Basically, you can take down apps as well. Figma also has integrated AI into their site, so you can generate um, designs and even motions, micro interactions, and other kind of interactions as well. Yeah, are we still here? So let's quickly get back to Figma and see what we can do here. Uh, Before I move, is there any question on this? Anyone? Any question?
No question in the chat. Any question from anybody? I think
No.
I think we can proceed.
Okay. So we're not doing anything complicated, right? And like we said, most of us are designers already. So this should be an issue. So basically, I had this created earlier. So basically, we want to create a button over state and click state, right? Which uh, let me just recreate something. Uh, Say we have this. So we have this button, right? Um, let's say this is the default state, and the we have the over states, and so for the over state, we want it to like kind of scale up a little bit, and so I'll scale this up a little bit. Let me make this right, and I'll change the color to lighter color, slightly lighter, and we'll have this for the click state. Let me make this darker and scale it down. So I'm going to um, make this a component and prototype this. So we have this on over. Okay, I think there's an error here. This is supposed to be a component set. Oh, sorry. We have the over states, set this while overing. So you can see on Figma here, we have the trigger, right? the trigger is uh, what what sets things in motion. Then the action is the rule. What happens? Want to change to this, which we've already set to a different thing entirely as a different property, right? Then we have the animation. So this is where you have the easing. So I'm using Smart Animate. I would use ease out and set it as 300 is fine. Then I would also prototype this um, while pressing, and also um, that. So I'm just going to preview this. So how is it here?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Hello?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, we are still here.
Alright, awesome. So I would just put this one we just created. So there's a conflict here. I will rename this to over, and let's just call this P. So if you preview this, you should have this response, right? Um, this is not new. When you click, you can see how the click scales down when you click on it, and see how smooth it is. So the interaction has to be fast. It doesn't have to be too fast. It doesn't have to be too slow. Then it has to be smooth because our brain tends to um, recognize things that seems off. It tends to create patterns. It tends to recognize a break in patterns. So if something is too rigid, it just doesn't um, flow well with the brain, right? So it needs to be smooth, it needs to be fast, and it needs to give me feedback. So now when I click this, I know that I've actually clicked it. I don't have to click it twice. But if there's no interaction, once I click it and I don't see a response immediately, I would think maybe I did not click it or something is wrong somewhere. So that's why micro interaction is important, right? So um, of course, that's the manual way we are used to. So this same thing we can just create it using AI easily. But so I would remove the interaction added to this button here. So it's just a regular button. Let me detach it. So all I will do is to just select this frame and copy it. So for this example that I'll be using Figma sites, right?
Okay.
You can use any AI you wish to. So I'll use Figma Make, sorry, I said sites, Figma Make, and I'll just paste in the button. are you guys still there?
Yeah. Guys, are you here?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So, like I said, for your prompts, you have to be specific. So you can just say, since this is just a simple button, you can just say implement the button design from Figma with enhanced micro interaction. Now, what interaction? The button should feature smooth over effects. Um, Let me make that more specific. Like the subtle scale up and color change to a lighter red. Then a tap, sorry, a tap state, which is a scale down, a darker blue, and a, sorry, darker red.
I was about to say, due to that intentionally.
A darker red, and I think that was not all we did just now. But let me just add a gentle shadow. Let me show. Now you can feed this to the AI, or we can add more specific things we want to see. For example, you can say make sure the corners are rounded, maintain the typography, or you can even give it rather than just saying red, you can give it showing on how much
Please mute your mic. Thingy.
Sorry.
of color you get. But I'm just going to leave this as this. And one of the reasons why I'm using Figma Make is because they integrated different AI models rather than having to go to a specific one. So you can choose even Claude from here, but I will just leave it as default and just
Shegs, I can't hear you again. Oh. Or is it me? Is it just me?
I can't hear him too.
oh, I think I was muted.
Okay.
Since when did you stop hearing me?
After the after it returns the results.
Oh, okay. So this is simply what we just created. So this, like I said, I'm saying, this is useful if this is just a simple micro interaction we just did. It can be useful for when you are unable to like create the prototype using the native Figma prototyping feature, right? Maybe it's more complex, not something you can achieve there. Rather than having to be having a way to like find a way to describe it, you can just use this to create this and show stakeholders or developer, letting them know exactly what you have in mind. And the developer can just copy the code and implement it, right? And this is sophisticated enough for even you can just implement an entire design, right? Or the AI, as they are still in a place whereby it still needs a serious review because some things might look like it is working, but the logic on the back end might be actually not entirely right. So the developer still needs to take a look at it and see how it is being implemented. So it's as simple
Can
as
you
this.
before you go away from this, can we include the suggestions there? Let's see how it brings it out.
What suggestion?
The suggestions that
Okay,
Figma,
yeah, of
yes.
course. So it's already asking you for a suggestion. So for in this case, you might not necessarily have to like write a long prompt. Just respond to it as you would respond to anyone. Let me just copy this and prompt it. And when using this AI, it's better to, as much as you want to leverage the tokens you are using, you need to still simplify the number of tasks you want it to accomplish at a time. You cannot give it a very, for example, say telling it to create an entire website that has maybe multiple pages and all of it at once in using one prompt or one command. It's better to just split it up, maybe page by even if feeding an entire page in itself is too much to ask, at least for now. You can just give prompt it section by section. That way, it won't just be giving you random um, generations of things, right? So it's better to like break down the task as much as possible that is reasonable, rather than giving it a lot to do at once. That's one of the ways to like prompt these AI models, right? To achieve what you want. Um, have any of us used this Figma Make before?
Anybody?
Anyone?
Yes.
Do you use it often or you just maybe tried it just to see?
So I just tried it. So because I'm not on paid Figma, so
Okay.
not too much.
That makes sense. It just works as every other what's it called? AI models. And like I said, it's not as if Figma has their own model. They just integrated every other model you would find there. For example, for the image editing inside Figma is being handled by Nano Banana. So that's why. So instead of going to a specific what's it called? A specific tool, like say maybe ChatGPT on its own or go into Cloud, I just use Figma Make and just select the model from there. That way, you already know that whatever you are trying to give it, it's already connected to Figma natively, and you can just give it link to your design and it sees your design directly and recreates it. Compared to if, for example, you have to go to Claude itself, the Claude app itself, and give it a link to your Figma design to need authentications and all of that before it can access your design. Meanwhile, from here, you can just access it directly. So we can see it has created variants using the same uh, interaction that we want. So you can make edits, just click on this icon here, select whatever you want it to edit and prompt it to make changes, whichever change you want it to make. Say for example, um, turn it, it's as simple as that, right? So before we come back to that, so there's this page I would like it to create. So I can just copy my design, copy it. I'll create a separate set for this one and paste this. Sorry, uh, it does that sometimes. So instead, let me just copy.
Hi, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt. So I've been raising my hand. So I wanted to know the buttons we just created, the button states. How are we going to download it from Figma Make and use in our work?
So this is an actual implementation, right? It's something that you can just uh, publish that can be used. For example, a developer can just take this, like switch to the code itself, copy the code and use it. They don't have to start reviewing themselves, right? So they can. However, if you as a designer, let me just paste this link references. Okay. If you as a designer needs this, you can just come up here. You can see copy design. You can just copy this. Let me come here and you can paste this. You get.
Yes, I do. Thank you so much.
So it's as simple as that. Although currently it does not come with its own interactions, it just copies the design exactly. Or since you already have the actual interaction that is not even just design, it's not just Figma prototype, then you can always reference this. Maybe, for example, maybe it is used in one of your design, you can just give a note to the developer and add the link annotation and add the link here. So when the developers they know where to refer to see whatever interaction that's supposed to have. Makes sense. Any other question? Lizzy, how many minutes do we have?
We are actually at our max minutes right now, but I think everyone is flowing with the class, right? So maybe let's continue, but let's make it snappy.
Okay. Okay, so I just wanted to recreate it um, rather than I've typed this out. And let me just paste. Then one thing with using this AI to generate um, designs and interaction is you need to familiarize yourself with some terms that, for example, developers use. Apart from design terms, you need to be familiar with um, development tools. I mean terms, right? So in order for you to describe what you want exactly. That way, the AI doesn't have to start guessing what you actually mean by your description. So it helps save time. So this is just a simple prompt. I can do without these long prompts, or like I said, the more specific you are, the more your chances of getting the results you actually hope to get. Um, while this is doing its thing, if anyone have a question, I think we should take them from now. Anyone who has a question, not on this alone, like everything we've talked about so far. Just on this. No question or no, you guys can hear me.
Maybe there's no question.
It's
You're
not
doing a
possible.
great job.
It's not possible. Question is, Alima, Shukro, Olatunji.
Actually, for I don't have any question.
Okay.
It's really good.
Sunday David, Faith, Lizzy Dahunsi,
Yes, boss.
Wisdom. Questions, please. Dorcas.
Okay, so let me
No
ask
one.
questions on their behalf.
Okay.
Mm. So, with that buttons that we created, I know that we did variations. Um, what was it called? Outline, ghost. But in practice, when we are starting a new project, we create more than that kind of variations. We create for sizes. We create the ones with icons. We create disabled states. Leading icons. The what do they call the other one? Leading icons and the one at the back, right?
Mm.
So we create
Mm-hmm.
all of those things. Those are the stuff that makes up like a library, a button library in a design system or in a style guide. So with this, are you saying that we can create all of that? Because if I'm going to create that manually, it's going to take time. And
Mm.
but we can actually do that with Figma Make, right? And create all of those buttons. That's question one. Like, can we do that? Question one. Question two is, can this Figma Make create, if you cannot even create an entire design system, because I know that it is large, can it create like um a style guide that a designer can start work with? Say the buttons, maybe not icons, but let's say input forms, you know other things like that, or maybe even icons. I'm trying not to answer the question, so I want you to be the one to answer those questions.
Okay. First question. Can you create those variants? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can create those variants. If you notice, um, when what we prompted it to do here, we just said add different variants, this, and this with the same interaction. So you just need to tell it what you want it to do. Once you tell it, it will do it. So it only created what we asked it to do. Secondary, outline, and ghost with the same interaction, which is what it created. So if you want it to create more variants with different states, you just need to prompt it and it will create all of that. And like I showed earlier, when someone asked, exporting this and using it in our design, for right now, it only exports the design itself, the way they look. It does not come as a component whereby you can now use them as a component in your design. It's its own with those interactions currently does not. So for at least you would have the design, you would save time creating those design, changing the colors, making sure the text is the same size and all of that. So of course, yes, you can do that. Then talking about it creating a more detailed style guide. Yes, it can, and I would say no, it cannot. It can because, like I said, whatever you prompt it to do, it would. But the reason why I say in no is if it creates an entire style guide, I believe the essence of having that is to save time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, if it creates all of that, you will have to export it to your design and it will export it as a regular. So, which means you will still need to create components out of these things, right? Which to an extent still the time you still need time to accomplish. So and a style guide is more detailed, looking at the time you need to use to prompt it and make sure it gets everything correctly, right? I mean, for generic and maybe basic components and styles, it's easy. I mean, you don't need to like write a long prompt and all of that. But if you have a custom kind of components that you need to create, for example, let's say this button for this now, you will need to be specific, much more specific with your prompting in order to achieve it. Then after all of that, then you now still need to export that into this. Makes sense.
Yeah.
So it can, but where it
Recommended.
these guys are right now, I don't think it is worth doing.
So it can, but it is not recommended, and it will
Yes,
stress you more, at least for now.
yes,
Okay. So we can always check back again to see the improvement because before Figma didn't even have these models added,
yeah.
but now they have models added, so they're always going to be improving. So we don't know what they're going to do again tomorrow. Okay,
Mhm.
Alima is missing her hand.
Okay, thank you. So I want to ask this website I'm showing presently. Did you use Figma Make for this?
Yeah, just this is the design here.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I just imported it and asked Figma me to create it. Yeah,
She's asking if
Okay.
from
you used Figma Make to create it from scratch.
Thank you.
yeah,
I do use Figma Make for everything. The whole content, everything inside.
yes. I just
Okay.
imported the
Thank you.
design. As you can see, it is attached. Then gave it the prompt and it created it. So what
All
I
right.
was trying to do now was to prompt it to add an interaction to the buttons. I think my prompts has cleared off. Okay, let me just put it back. So I added. So this is like a hero section. So if you like what you see, you can bring another section, prompt it to create it, modify it, the way you want it to be modified, then you move to the next section. That's how I prefer to work with these things rather than giving it an entire page design and asking it to create it from top to bottom. Do you like me to proceed? Yes, please. Do you understand?
Elima, is your question answered?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Olatunji.
Okay. Sorry. What I want to know is there a point where you will get to in a project and maybe you've been implementing a lot of micro interactions in the single project. Is there a point where it gets there, it becomes too much as what I need to know?
Okay. For in the case of micro interaction, it is easy. If it is regular interactions, animation and stuff, that might be a little bit difficult to ascertain. But when it comes to micro interaction, it is easy to determine when there is too much or not. The question you should ask yourself at that point is, if this micro interaction is not here, does it break things? Would users be confused? Would they be stuck, or would it decrease the the experience for the user, right? So if you can do without it, then it is not needed. And at that point, you don't need to add more.
I think another question is it distracting? I think it becomes when it gets to a state where it is distracting, then it's getting too much and unnecessary,
If
right?
it is distracting, then that means your priority is not uh, purposeful. Like we said, being purposeful is your number one priority for a micro interaction. Yeah. So if it is becoming distracting, then it is no longer a micro interaction. You just want something cool. So that's the difference between the micro interaction and the regular interaction.
Okay, can proceed. Does that answer your question, please, Olatunji?
Yes, it does. Yes.
Okay.
Any other question?
Yes, please. Can you share tips on how like you prompted the um the AI to produce exactly the design um that you pasted? Because I've tried it before, but some of the elements on my design it couldn't replicate. So like how do you know the right prompts to give to get what you want?
Okay. Okay. Personally, a couple of things. It might be different person to person because some call themselves prompt engineers. But personally, the way it has always worked for me, your own case, when you said you've tried it and it did not give you, maybe it was before now, before so many upgrades. Or even right now, you might not get what you want if you don't prompt it well. For me personally, I try, like I said, I try as much as possible to be specific. And personally, I don't worry too much about correct grammar. As long as I feel this thing is understandable to what I'm feeding it to, I believe I'm good to go. And like I said, one of the things I do is I don't just give it an entire design for it to create for me. I break it down as much as I feel is reasonable and start opting. For example, let's say this is the website I'm trying to create. Now I'm giving it the Euro section to create first. not the entire page, not the entire landing page, just the hero section. Once give that, then I just give it a description of what, for example, when I brought this in, I just told it, I could have just said implement the hero section from the business line. But it would most likely give me what I want. But to save time, I added that and I described what the design is in my own words. Okay, this section features a stunning dark theme, purple green lights, effects. There was a time I was trying to prompt an AI to recreate something for me. The AI is the AI was telling me there's a soft, there's a faded swimmer on the background.
Okay.
Anyway, um, so I went ahead to like describe what the design is because I might be seeing one thing and the AI is seeing another thing that I might not know. Okay, so you can go ahead and do that. So that would help it give you what you want more. So the more specific you go, the better. Then, like I said before, try and break down the task. If you feel like this task is too much, maybe an entire page, try and break it down into components and let it go. When it's done with that and you're satisfied with what it gave you, then you can now move to the next thing. Now, I finished creating this hero section for the what's it called? The button has no interaction, which I want. So I had to give it prompt it to add an interaction to all the buttons. So I only picked one button and tell it to create that interaction and apply it to all the other buttons. So it added it to these two other buttons. Now, for example, these nav menus are not, they are just text. You would know because of the what your cursor changes into. So they are not seen as a link. So you can just select one of them and just prompt it to do whatever you need it to do. Tell it to there should be a link, there should be an overstate that looks like this and that, and should do this when you click it and all of that. Then if you want it to apply the same style to the remaining nav link, um, it would add it. And like I said, you need to know some terms. You cannot just tell it, oh, add it to the text on your right. Or if you tell it, okay, add it to the nav link, it will know where nav link is meant to be. It knows what you are referring to as a nav link. So, but if you don't know the term, the actual term, it will have to guess what you are referring to, which in some cases it might not get it right. Or if you give it a specific uh, name that it's being called, then it will definitely give you what you want. So those are the things I do. And as I work with these things, I learn also to know, okay, oh, if you tell it to do this certain way, it does not give you a good result. You have to tell it in a particular way, and from there you improve on your prompting.
Okay. Does that answer Emma's question?
Yes, thank you so much.
Okay, can we do like something for this dashboard before we? Okay, you're doing for the. Are you doing for the number?
No, no, no. I'll just press it. So this dashboard is actually an image, so it can't really do any editing to it per
No,
se.
no, not to edit the image. Like just an interaction. So maybe when they scroll, or let's say comment or something.
Okay, and you can like add like a scroll triggered animation, but we only have one section, so the scroll triggered
It will not
might not
show. Mm.
necessarily work. But let's say, let me see, what can we do to this? Um, writing, for example, on over um, experience the, the uh, um, what else do I want to do?
Any suggestion from anybody?
Any suggestion? No suggestion. Let's see what gives us.
Even the text, we can say maybe once the site loads, that typing animation stuff. You can just
Yeah.
say add a typing animation to maybe financial because it will be too. This text here is long. Streamline financial workflows. If you add typing animation to this long text, it will be too slow. In my own opinion, right? It will be, except you do it fast and it happens only once.
Mm,
But if it has to loop, it will be too slow and unnecessary.
okay. So we can like have like a um, add a text. Let's see if this works.
While this is loading, I just want to add that when it returns results, let's always try to read the its thinking. Understand? Because
Yeah.
when we read it, you learn more about how it works, right? And then there's something that you would describe. You yourself might not know what it is called, but if you can describe it in plain English, in this thinking you'll see that to name it, that the user have asked me to name what you describe, the actual term for it in design or in development, to say it in that statement, so that the next time you want to use it, you've already learned that, oh, this one is called skeletal load, or this one is called you know do you understand? So a lot of times, maybe because we don't know what to say to it, we are in that state where our mind is blank, right? I don't even know the animation I want to do on this site. Just describe something. You might not know the actual term, but the thinking while you are reading, when it returns results for you, just read its thinking process. You kind of learn more, right, through the thinking process.
Mm, yeah.
I know a number of
So
things. Sorry. I know a number of terminologies that reading AI's thinking. When it returns results for me, I just read it, right? And then I realize that, oh, what I described, this is what it is even called, and then I
mm,
just learn it from there.
Yeah, I don't know if this is working.
Maybe we should preview it, sorry.
Oh, it's working. Well, I think I applied it to the wrong thing. You can see
Uh,
it's, but it applied it to the wrong elements. Uh, I'm not sure what element is. Let me see if I can get the name of that.
Also, another question why you're doing that would be that let's say somebody creates an entire site with Figma made, animates it, right? Do they need to take it back to Figma before they share it with their developers or to their clients for a preview? Or they can just share to the developers from
Uh,
here? Would the developers be able to inspect and bring it to life if they have to develop it?
no, 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 you do not have to take it to Figma. So you can, same way you can share Figma links, you can just click on share and add anybody you want them to review it. In fact, Figma Make is meant for you to actually implement the design and go live as soon as possible. It's not even just for developers. So you can, you want it to go live and everybody should be able to visit that website and all of that. You can just publish. From here, you can publish and it will give you a Figma domain temporary URL. Or you can even, what's it called?
Connect domain. Can you connect domain?
Domain. Yes, you can. But that would, of course, require some
Payment.
uh, payment and all of that. Or you can use the Figma.sites uh, link. Does that make sense? Or if you want to just share the way it looks when you are creating it, you can just do the sharing. So now it has, let me close this. It has added the animation to the text I gave it. So what I said was add a staggered text, fade in and slide in top by word. So I gave it an exact prompt. I use staggered. Staggered is when an animation um, follows each other. Like they don't come all at once. It's
Mm.
called staggered animation. You get. So I told it, okay, staggered text fading. I want it to fade in and at the same time slide in to top. You get. I can say slide in from bottom, which means it's still going to the top. So I just use slide into top and I specified is it by character or by line or by word. So I said by word. I think you can see the effect here.
Yeah.
So can prompt it, like I said, you need to know some terms in order to get what you want it to do and to give you the result you want. Any other question so that we can just round up?
Any other question from anybody? Have you learned something today? Nobody has learned anything today. Eh? Can you guys hear me?
Yes, I've learned something. Thank you so much.
Okay. Does anybody want to share their key takeaway with us? Like one key thing you're taking out of this class? Michael, you have learned a lot. Share with us one key thing, your key takeaway from this class.
If you don't want to talk, you can just type it in the chat.
Yeah, yeah. Or we
Or
can type it in the chat. Okay, let everybody put it in the chat. And if you feel like you want to talk to, sure. Like your key takeaway from the class. Okay, Michael. Thank you. Who else?
Thank you for doing this for us. I'm really glad that that I joined this class today, and this actually encouraged me to do more micro interactions, because sometimes I don't know, not that I cannot do it, but I just wonder, let me just continue my design diary. Let me just do anything that deals with that do with movement or anything. But I think I'll try and put more effort now. Thank you.
Thank you to Alima. Dorcas, thank you. Okay. Is anybody still typing or are we done?
anybody else?
Olatunji, how about you?
I actually learned a lot. I'm not a product designer by any chance, but I'm moving towards that for the end of this year. So that's why I joined. At least I need all the help I can get. So
Okay.
that's why.
Okay, so you're moving towards product designer, right? By product design, right?
Yes.
Okay. So has this class helped you in any way towards that goal?
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Okay. All right. Are you in the community? Are you in the group chat?
No, I'm not in the group chat. I joined through Shegun's.
Oh, okay. All right. If you okay, let me drop link to the group chat on the chat so that you can join the group chat or join the community for other future workshops that you can also learn from. Would you like that?
Yes. Yes, please.
Okay, let me drop.
So, sorry, Lizzy. So before we go, so this is away from micro interaction. For some people mentioned that they were looking at um, how to like export the animations or implementation of the animations and all of that. So this particular animation on this website, for example, was created using AI, right? So it has a scroll effect whereby you can see the is an illustration like a rough sketch. So as you scroll down, the sketch kind of like cleans off and it moves to the next what's it called? The next section, right? So this was created entirely by AI. Just it was just fed. So there's a video that was fed to the AI, Claude to be specific in this case, and the video was fed to the AI, and it was told what effects we are trying to achieve. To say, okay, we want this video to it's playing the video as you scroll, but it will not feel as if it is a video, right? So what it does is it splits up that video into frames. So as you would know, a video is actually frames, like images, different images coming together to create a video. So it will split that video into frames and connect each of those frames to your interactions. So as you scroll, it's kind of like move between frames, from frames to frames till it gets to the last frame. So this was done completely by AI and it achieved the result exactly the way it is meant to. And that does not reduce the speed of the website. That does not change the way it looks and everything. So if you are able to like take advantage of AI, you be able to ship things faster and you'll be able to present things faster. This might just be a presentation to your stakeholders that on like whatever you created and they are unable to like describe it or create it in Figma where you are working. So you can just feed it to AI, like I said, know some certain words or terms that are used by developers and all of that, and you can create magic moving on from there. Whether a full-blown animation or a micro interaction or a website, full website to get. So, or you can do a lot, right? And it speeds up your process. And moving back now to why we are here today. The key takeaways should be that micro interactions are emotional layers of the products. It is not, the main purpose is not for it to be cool. The main purpose is for it to communicate with your users and guide them towards a particular thing you want them to experience in the product. Then every interaction has those four set of um, parts, which is the trigger, the rules, the feedback, and the loops. You will notice that the same thing applies in Figma when you're trying to create a Figma prototype. You will see the trigger, you see where you set the rules, what you want to happen, the feedback the user would get, and if you want it to continue to repeat, which is the loop, it applies everywhere. Then the motion should serve the user not to impress them. I mean, it's not a bad thing if you can impress them as well. I mean, Duolingo does it very well. But then that should not be your focus. Your focus is serving them and making sure you are communicating the right thing. Then CSS, like I said, is what developers use to implement those animations. It is when it starts getting advanced, like if the animations are getting advanced, that's when CSS can no longer do it. That's when JavaScript comes in and they implement it using JavaScript. Then AI accelerates the iteration. Like we just said, you can iterate so fast with using AI. So that should be the key takeaway. So each one of us can like go home and pick an element or a design and try adding interactions to it that you feel has a purpose, not just there, right? The one we added to this hero section that we created, which is the button and mainly the hero text, is the button is like the major action you want them to perform on the landing page. The hero section is the most important part of the web page. So the text there, the button there are very important. So the button has to like give them a feedback, let them know, oh, you need to perform this action. Maybe you want them to register or you want them to download the app, whatever it is you want them to do. And the text also, if there's an animation or an interaction to the text, it can reveal some things. There are some interaction whereby, for example, this section, maybe you want this text to change to something else on over, either financial workflows can change to a particular marketing um, word or whatever it is, right? Because you want them to know what this product does, this dashboard does, and all of that. So you have to have interaction to them. So this makes me know these things can be clicked and should be clicked, especially this primary one, like that. So those are so you can try and start being conscious when designing rather than just having basic static designs. Um, I hope you need to like learn one or two from this, and if you have any questions that pops up in your head after this call has ended, then you can drop it in the group and we'll try and address them as soon as possible. Thank you. Lizzy, is Lizzy still here?
Thank you so much, Shegs. Thank you. Please let's appreciate Shegs. Thank you for being patient with us, taking up all our questions. And Shegs is actually a very calm person. You can see the way he's talking calmly, no stress, you know, no rush. Just they take them one after the other so that everybody can understand. Thank you so much. God bless you. So I've dropped the link to the group chat in case any other person wants to join. And because we are here, I also like to give us a view of what the next workshop will be. So because of how AI is everywhere, and a lot of people are building, they just know that they use AI to build something and then it will just come up like magic. They don't really know, like when I was talking about terminologies the last time. Sheg also mentioned something around terminologies. Yeah. So the next session is going to be around that. So we're basically going to be learning all these terminology. What are these things? For instance, somebody pick up an AI tool and just use it to design website, but they don't know what are gateways, what are integrations, what are environmental variables. Today we learned what slotty files are, right? So what are all these things? Because all of these things are also important for whatever it is that you are building, whether you are building manually or you are building with AI, right? So I'm just using this one as examples, but we're going to bring in a developer on board that's going to be teaching us what these terms, because we as designers, we need to know them so that we can use them and then we can know where we are designing, we can know where all of these things come in our project. So I hope you guys are looking forward to it. The information about it will be dropped in the community. So tell your friends, invite people. Also, always share and engage with the flyers when they come out so that we can get more people to join us to learn as well. So thank you so much for tonight's session. Do have a lovely evening. See you guys in the next one. Join the group chat and then we continue from there. So if you have any question after now, drop it in the group chat and then share the group chat as well. So you can always ask